All right, we've got a full day ahead of us. I'm going to be doing a live with Tim, which means I'm going to have this show and a 1 hour live with Tim going over crypto technicals and some stocks for you guys to check out today. I'm also going to try to get into the Discord to do a live with StockMo. So it's going to be a busy and full day, but I wanted to give you some specifics on the market so you guys can have a sense of what I see happening this week and how it fits into some of the videos that I've been sharing with you guys. The biggest and most dramatic title I gave a video was last Thursday, which was "It's Over." And I stand by that, but it's important that you understand what it was I was talking about, which is the level of control that the bulls had over this market is over. I'm seeing weakness, loss of momentum, and rolling over. But even that needs to be interpreted. When that occurs, we then go into a very volatile period of time in which short bursts of strength can come into the market, pushing it higher than it's ever gone before. But that's a characteristic price action which is different than a steady bull run climbing higher week after week, month after month. That is behind us, and I've confirmed it to you guys in the charts from my technical overview. But what is ahead of us is extreme price moves. I titled that video after it said it's over. I titled it FOMO to Fear. FOMO, fear of missing out, when stocks are going to be firing up, when everybody was taking a short position because they didn't realize that we were moving into the pattern of distribution, and all of a sudden stocks begin to go back to their all-time highs and people are afraid of getting left behind. Even though this may not be the best time to buy long-term some of the stocks that have been running for most of 2023 and most of 2024 so far. So FOMO to fear, and that's where people begin to take short positions too early because things might skyrocket to all-time highs. I am predicting that Bitcoin is on the move up. Even with the little bit of weakness that we're seeing, I believe and have been saying within this 30-day window that we were going to see a 77K Bitcoin and possibly a 5,400 to 5,500 S&P 500. And so what you want to take away is that the markets are definitely going to get choppy. Now, there's some important news events that have dictated how this particular market has moved, and I mentioned them in last week's video, which is going to be the job market. The Fed, that's the number one thing besides inflation reports that the Fed is looking at, because the two gauges of inflation being controlled by the Fed is his mandate to get that number under 2%. At the same time, he looks at the unemployment rate and the unemployment record. He's got to be careful that that doesn't go too deep, pushing the economy into a depression and not just a pullback or a correction or a deeper recession. So we saw that NVIDIA went up today, along with AMD. I called this one as a bonus play last week that we were going to be watching for a move up above 164, and that's exactly what we got today. But more importantly is the structure on AMD that I see in the charts. To me, it points at the opportunity of going higher over the course of the next 30 days. My target for AMD is 180. But I also want to warn you guys that we are at the tail end of a bullish descending parallel channel, and typically it fights to break out of the channel. So imagine a bull hitting the gate, hitting the gate, hitting the gate until it busts wide open and he runs, the price being the run from 164 all the way up to 180. That's what we're watching for. Now, if we stay within the gate, then it's not going on a run. The gate, in my mind, is a solid close above 164 and holding 164. Now, the real momentum goes when the price action closes above 170. That's when we're going to see our biggest green candle pushing us up closer to that 180. So at the moment, and I've been saying it with those same videos where I said it's over, I said, watch for a move back up on the chips. That's what we got today. And that was a confirmation of what I've been sharing with you guys. They both were screaming higher this morning. Now, they did that because of weak labor market data. What exactly is that? Well, It wasn't federal government data that came out, but independent data from the ADP that hiring was at 152,000 jobs for the month of May, but the expectation was 175,000, meaning they were 25,000 jobs short of being hired, which means that unemployment or employment is falling. And now we're going to be looking for unemployment data that's coming out tomorrow. That's the weekly jobless claims. Now, if this data shows weakness in the employment sector, this is where people begin to be more confident that the Fed will cut the rate. And that's what we saw in the Fed funds rate data report. We saw a bump up in the expectation of a rate cut in September. Now, I want to bring out some data. I'm not going to be able to show everything today because I want to get this video out quickly. Before I get into that data, this is the Stocks with Josh show. I would appreciate if you like and subscribe. The likes push the video out to more viewers, and you need those subscribes to stay in touch with these fast-changing markets. We're building generational wealth. If you don't know the charts, this page is all about predicting the next step of Bitcoin and the next step of the S&P 500 by taking a very close eye on the charts. Now, we are not proactive. We are reactive, which means that even though I'm making a prediction, it's meant to be for you to look at what might happen so that when it happens, you can better understand it rather than be asking questions at the end of the day. Why did the market go down? Why did the market go up? Well, I'm trying to tell you why it might go down and why it might go up. And if I'm right, then it's confirmation and you can make a faster decision and make more money. Thank you guys for joining me today. Say hi and throw a heart in the comment. So I always like to keep an eye and read the client reports for UBS and for Goldman Sachs because they're very insightful. That data doesn't typically disseminate out to the retail market, but I try to interpret it and share it with you guys here. So they are yet again still calling for a 5,500 S&P 500 by the end of this year. So that mile marker is on the table. Now, there's two ways that we could approach that. We could blow past 5,500 and go up to 58, 5,900, even 6,000, and then possibly come down as we get closer to the end of the year and end up at 5,500. Or we could touch 5,400 right now, have a 10% decline over the course of the summer, and then slowly build as we get closer to the election so that positivity is there. And then as we get to the end of the year, we could get close to that 5,500. That's just the two paths that I see. At the moment, I am watching weakness of momentum in the stock market. And I believe that even in Bitcoin, we're getting a higher price at the moment, but with weaker momentum. Now, momentum can shift and it can change, and I'll let you know if it does. But at the moment, it's weaker than it had been before, which means that we might be moving up, make a new high, cool off for the summer, and come back at it again at the end of the year. So the reason they gave for a bullish view of a 5,500 S&P 500 is because they're still seeing increasing profit margins from corporate earnings. And so here's what I want you to understand about that. Corporations are still pushing prices higher because inflation is sticky. We're seeing that in the inflation number, that it's still, you got to remember that 2% inflation is not how much inflation there is, it's how much inflation rate is still growing. And so the fact is that we're never getting into deflation, which is a reversal of price. We're always looking at how quickly is the price going up. That's terrible, man. If you are a single parent, or if you are a hardworking guy that is struggling with rent, food, and gas, the truth is the closer you get to Wall Street and the closer you get to economics, you begin to understand price of goods are always going up every month, but your wage is not following suit. And so that's why you have to get a plan to do some long-term investing. Because here's the truth, guys, $1,000 invested in NVIDIA 10 years ago or a decade ago would be worth $500,000. Wall Street is constantly presenting an opportunity every single day, but you've got to get wise. You got to understand those charts. So two factors. They see that the profit margin of corporations in the United States is still growing. That's their first reason that we're going to go higher on the S&P. And then the second reason is that they're still seeing the opportunity for secular growth through AI. And so do I. We are in the age of innovation. And I think I talk about Tesla all the time. Very bullish on Tesla stock. Now, very bullish still means I have a ton of disciplines, a ton of financial disciplines. I'm still going to own more of the S&P 500 and VOO than I'm going to own an individual stock. It just means that I'm happy to buy it each and every day, especially when we're down beneath 200. I'm happy to buy this company. I'm not even talking about Tesla today, but I want to talk about that AI secular growth because these guys are doing automated driving. They're doing robots. And I think that these things are going to be big winners for Tesla in the days ahead. And Wall Street's going to pile in early before they even happen. But right now, we are vacillating under $200. I still think there's opportunity to the upside, possibly retesting $400. I wouldn't necessarily say this year, maybe 2025. But this is the reason why UBS believes that there's going to be secular growth because it's going to be driven by AI, and AI is still just beginning. It's also the reason why I would think at this moment that NVIDIA is going to have another stock split ahead of us. Maybe 2 to 3 years, can't engage it. At some point, I'll look carefully at the charts and give you an opinion. But I believe that there's going to be 2 stock splits, the one that we get in June and another one on the horizon, giving us more opportunity in NVIDIA at the right price. All right, let's talk a little bit. Let me do a quick station break for the MOOMOO investment app. Guys, if you deposit $100, this is a good app for retail traders to begin to learn how to trade options with good mobile charting. If you just leave cash in there and wait for a good opportunity to buy stocks, they're going to give you a 5.1% interest rate. I'll leave a link in the top pinned comment as well as the description of the video. Okay, I wanted to take you guys into Ondo. I wanted to take you into some crypto. Let's go take a look at that chart. Okay, guys, I'm going to keep my overview of Ondo's simple. First, if you have followed me and gained confidence in buying this altcoin when it was down and beaten down, and if you've learned something through the charting that I've provided on Ondo, and if you have made a big bag of money trading Ondo with me, I want you to say something in the comment section. Let me know right now. Just put a bag of cash and a heart. That'll make me happy. I'll know what you're talking about. Throw in the word Ondo at the end. We've killed it with this. From the time that I initially called it a strong buy and told everybody in my community that this was going to be my #1 trade in altcoins moving forward over the next month, it's gone up from that point to 100%. But that isn't, we just didn't buy and hold this. When it got to $1.33, actually when it got to $1.31, I said, guys, I'm selling half my position and locking in some of this momentum move because I think there's going to be a consolidation and pullback. We got that. Then I came out and said, hey, it's time to load back up. $1.16, put your stop loss at $1.12. We're riding it higher, and we're going to get it up to between 133 and 145. Well, look at that chart, man. We hit above 145. Now I'm here to hit 3 balls out of the park with Ondo. I'm not doubting my technicals. Do you guys see fear in my face? Do you see doubt in my technicals? Not over here, not at the Stocks with Josh, not the chart goat. I'm giving you this confidence, right? Not because I'm trying to puff my chest, but because I'm trying to help you guys learn these charts. I'm trying to show you the confidence that I have in the charting, right? And so let's take a look at this chart. And this is a huge learning opportunity, and I'm excited to point it out and to show it to you guys. Okay, first of all, I want you to see that on our chart, we have the LUXALGO Watson envelope, which is super easy to use for new traders. And that's why I've recommended LUXALGO. I'm going to talk about it more in my video, my live video with Tim today. We're going to do a teaching session on LUXALGO in the Stock Squad Patreon. Guys, there'll be a link for the Stock Squad Patreon. That's the Discord that I do with the Stock Squad. So what I want you guys to see, we bought in at this yellow dot down here, right around 77 cents. We've come all the way up over 102%. If you can see, the Watson envelope has given us these red triangles pointing down. But here's something that's even more important, a change of the way that the price candles are structuring themselves. I've taught on this page to watch for the bullish descending channel. That's why we made the call to buy at $1.16, because there was the opportunity. We touched the bottom of the channel. There was the opportunity for us to break higher, and it did beautifully. Over the last 3 days, bam, 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 we climbed right to where I told you we would climb, and now we've begun to consolidate. We've began to digest that price action, and it gave us these 2 red triangle sell patterns. Now, does it mean the move is over? No, but here's the big warning on Ondo. One, I told you guys that I was going to sell some more when we got up to 145, and I did. So one, you've been notified. You do what you want to do, but Stocks with Josh is locking in gains, big gains. We're talking about 100% plus because we didn't just trade it from 75 up here. We bought and sold along the way, maximizing the opportunity. But we went from a descending channel that breaks to the upside, guys, to an ascending channel. Where do those break? To the downside. Now, before they break to the downside, I've traded these cryptos and stocks long enough to know that sometimes we can get some incredible bullish candles that break higher, right? And so the fact that we're up at the top, there's still the opportunity for a breakout move. And I want to explain. If Bitcoin does what I'm thinking it will do, and it pushes higher right now, up to 77K, it's going to pull Ondo up higher with it. And that's when we got to go and shift to the weekly candle to look at bigger move opportunities. So let's do that. All right, when we go to the weekly candles, we begin to see that even though this candle is essentially a gravestone doji at the moment and it's bearish, the fact is we're not at the top of the channel. And I made mention of this before. Absolute max opportunity on Ondo in the short term is right around 145 to 160. I've consistently mentioned this to you every time we've talked about Ondo, but it's important that you have a take profit strategy. I've been taking profit along the way and buying back in along the way. Now I've taken profit again, but I'm holding a moon bag for a move up into that 145 to 160 zone over the course of the next week. Now, guys, I'm going to give you just a flash look at the S&P 500 just to wrap up this video, but I've got more content coming for you guys today on other stocks and Bitcoin in a whole, and I want you guys to check it out because all of it's going to be insightful. I've done my homework. I missed a video yesterday, and I've been studying extra hard to bring you guys great content today, so don't miss any of the videos. So let's take a quick look at the S&P 500. And this is going to be a fresh prediction of price action moving forward. I'm going to talk about it again, maybe today and maybe in tomorrow's video. Right now, guys, I'm going to try to make this super clear for you guys, okay? I had predicted in the past that we had to get to the top of the channel really in the last 2 weeks to see what I'm calling the continuation of the bull run, right? That would let us know that the bull run had more days ahead of it. The bull run as described as markup phase. Now there's a bull move within distribution, and that's where we're at now. And I'm calling that as a move up to 5490. This chart here looks to me like we are definitely going to hit 5400, and we're building momentum right now. Now we're also up against the previous all-time high that we just made, which is actually kind of bullish because we're continuing to press and make a new high. But remember what I said, as long as we're in the bottom of the channel, the bulls are not in charge. We're going to say the second-rate bulls are in charge. And so even though I'm predicting a higher move in the short term, it's not as strong as a longer-term bull move, which I believe has already rolled over. So keeping it simple and wrapping up this video, 5490 is my near-term prediction for the overall market, and I think it's going to be the chip companies that take us to that level, along with big tech. They're going to continue to be the winners. And that's when we're going to begin to see companies like Google and Amazon make their final push up. So I want you to be ready. Been talking about getting ready for the last 30 days. So that we would be ready within this 30-day window. And guys, don't go through it and be hearing from me later on in July about all of the technicals and warnings that have been given. I want you guys to make money. We can master this. We can master it together. We're going to do our very best. Guys, I do think that if we fail at 5490 and we break these channels again in the future, my prediction is that we'll hit back at 4950. It's all about when, and you got to get the answers to that by following this page. Click the like and subscribe to get those answers. Join me on this Wall Street journey. Appreciate each and every one of you guys. Peace and blessings. Talk to you in the next video.